I'm sure you're familiar with the massive Portland Retro Gaming shows, but did you know that classic video game events in the Pacific Northwest started more than 20 years ago? Back in 1996, Beth, Zach, and Jake owned a store, Penny and Perk, in Seattle, and they decided that an Atari Championship would be a great way to drive additional traffic into the store. It was a huge success. At the same time, Lee, a classic gamer from the Seattle area, posted on Usenet and invited people to a classic gaming meeting. This event drew about 20 people from all over the Pacific Northwest, and so he decided to do another one. Now, in the meantime, Beth and her team put on the second Atari Championship at Penny and Perk, and again, it was super successful. And then, in January of 1998, Lee and Paul organized another classic gaming meeting. This time it was called the Northwest Classic Games Enthusiasts Meeting, NWCGE. Later that year, in 1998, Penny and Perk had their third Atari Championship, and here you can see one of the original flyers. 1999 saw NWCGE doing another show, again very well attended. And of course, Penny and Perk did another Atari Championship, this time at the High Score Arcade. On the left, you see the original poster. On the right, you see the original trophy. About 40 contestants competed for all kinds of cool prizes. In 2000, NWCGE found a new home in Kirkland. Here we finally had a lot of space, and about 50 people from all over the Pacific Northwest showed up. High Score skipped the 2000 championship, but for 2001, NWCGE and High Score teamed up and did a classic gaming weekend. Saturdays, we had the big show in Kirkland, and then Sundays, we had the big championship in Seattle. All up around 200 attendees. Unfortunately, High Score lost their lease at the end of 2001, so for 2002, NWCGE put on the show again in Kirkland and also did an Atari Championship. And then for 2003, we teamed up with the Northwest Film Forum as part of the Obsolete Media Festival. That event was a huge success. Again, about 200 attendees, and the finals were played out on a big movie theater screen. In 2004, NWCGE moved to SeaTac, to the Crown Plaza Hotel, so we had more space, and we had about 200 attendees, and Joe DeCoeur, one of the original Atari 2600 engineers, gave a fantastic presentation. And of course, we had a championship. For 2005, NWCGE was part of the Seattle GameCon. And then in 2006, we decided that for our 10-year anniversary, we would go back to SeaTac, this time at the Holiday Inn, with plenty of room for about 250 attendees. Joe did another fantastic presentation and signed an Atari 2600 console as the big prize for the championship. Also in 2006, one of our NWCGE alumni put on a show in Vancouver, just right outside of Portland. That show was super successful, and so for the following year, they decided to move that show into Portland. In Portland, the attendee numbers started growing very rapidly. Back in the Puget Sound, another alumni decided to put on a show in Seattle again. This one was called Jet City Retro and was also very successful. The Portland Retro Gaming Expo became super popular. Year after year, it kept growing and growing, and as you know, today it's absolutely massive. Tens of thousands of attendees, hundreds of vendors, great panels, lots of alumni. It's really an awesome show. And while the Portland show was growing rapidly, a group in Seattle decided, let's kick off another local show. That show was called Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, and it's been going strong since 2015 on an annual basis. Of course, the Portland show also keeps going and is also growing bigger and bigger, and both shows are doing very well. By the way, if you have any pre-2005 pictures or footage from any of the old Penny and Perk events or NWCG events, please contact me. I'd love to see that. Thanks.